play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
As a kid, two of my favorite things were video games and Japanese monster movies. Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla. Monsters beating the hell out of each other and blowing the fuck out of everything in sight. I love that shit. Being a Godzilla fan in the late 80s and early 90s wasn't easy for an American. Because, for one thing, the only way to see these movies was to scan through the TV guide every Sunday and see if any happened to be on, or go to every local video store hoping to be lucky enough to find some on VHS. During my lifetime, there were only two Godzilla films released in theaters here in the United States, Godzilla 1985 and Godzilla 2000. The 1998 American version doesn't count. It wasn't until I got internet that I found out Toho had still been making these movies all through the 90s, but they were only in Japan. I was pissed off. When it came to video games, we also got fucked pretty hard. This was my first Godzilla game, Godzilla on the NES. Let's pop this piece of reptilian fuck nugget in. Godz, Monster of Monsters. This should already be a clue to how half-assed this game is, because he's blocking half the title. In 2000 XXX AD. Why is it always X? Like they couldn't come up with an exact year, so just make it X. The Earth receives a declaration. Oh, fuck this. Let's start the game. Great looking game. What's this? Godzilla chess? So you take control of both Godzilla and Mothra and move them around these hexagon spaces. Then you go into these battle zones. This is more like it, right? Classic side-scroller action. Or more like classic mindless button masher. Oh well, at least you have a lot of attacks. Godzilla punches, kicks, swings his tail, and breathes his trademark atomic breath. How often has Godzilla ever been in space? Once, as far as I remember, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. Why not take place on Earth? I want to trample some buildings. Instead, I'm just beating up on rocks. And how does Godzilla jump without bending his knees? Looks like he's bouncing on a trampoline. What are these things? Evil totem poles? What's this, too? What's that? What's everything? Did they just send Godzilla to some shithole planet that happens to be the garbage can of the cosmos where everything that never existed got thrown away? After you get through one of the battle zones, the CPU moves one of its own monsters. Then it's your turn again. You can move Godzilla or Mothra if you want. Yeah, let's check out Mothra. Well, the good thing is that she can fly, obviously, which means you can bypass obstacles. When you're playing as Godzilla, every 2 seconds there's a pile of rocks in your way. But Mothra just flies over that shit. Well, except when you get hit. Anything that touches her, she gets forced to the ground. She can shoot tomatoes and drop wings. Yeah, she drops wings. That would be like if you could throw your own arms. Mothra sucks. That's all there is to it. When you pick Mothra, the game just laughs. What's this? What the fuck's hitting me? What is this? Oh, it's the volcano? I can't walk past a volcano that's in the background? All I gotta do is hit it? That's a sensible solution. Kick the top of a volcano. The idea of each board is to destroy all the monsters. Here we have Mothra and Ghidorah. Are you kidding? Mothra and Ghidorah? Out of all the available monsters in the Godzilla franchise, they had to go with two monsters that weren't even originally from a Godzilla movie. Of course, Mothra appeared in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, and there's stock footage of Ghidorah in Godzilla Final Wars, but those movies didn't happen until way after this game. I found a glitch where you can just keep hitting Mothra with your tail. Look at that. It's so easy. What happened? There's a time limit? Yeah, so if you take too long to fight the monster, you gotta start over. And the monster regains some of its life. You don't. The worst part, after you defeated Mogra and Gazora and go to the next stage, guess who's next? Mogra and Gazora. Yeah, they just keep recycling the same monsters, but add one per stage. Like here we have Varan, another obscure monster that appeared in its own movie, then made a small cameo in a Godzilla film. Engaging the monsters in battle is awkward. Will you fight the enemy? Yes. Will you fight Gazora? Yes, that's the enemy, right? Other times, you don't want to fight the enemy, but it doesn't take no for an answer. No. God damn it, I said no! Then there's times when the game thinks you're trying to move and the monster's blocking your way. Like, yeah, there's the monster. I want to fight him. Throughout the game, the choice of enemies gradually becomes more what you'd expect. It goes from Baragon and the Smog Monster to Gigan and Ghidorah, but Ghidorah's tucked away in a corner, so you'll be lucky if you get that far. Here's Mechagodzilla, now that's what I'm talking about. Almost got him. I'm gonna win! I'm gonna beat Mechagodzilla!
Fucking time limit! That motherfucking shit-sucking time limit! It's not even like there's a counter. It's like the game just pulls the plug. Like, oh, you're gonna win? Well, not anymore, you ass-bag, fecal fucker, shit-shaped anus brain. The game cheats. That's it. That's all there is to it. The game fucking cheats.
But we're not done, because there's a sequel, Godzilla 2. This one's gotta be way better, right? I mean, they experimented with the first one, little trial and error. Now it's time for some improvement. I mean, sometimes you gotta take a nasty shit before you can take a better shit. What is this? This doesn't even look like a Godzilla game. This is just as much of a Godzilla game as SimCity when the monster attacks. You don't even get to play as Godzilla. You're the military. You just move tanks and planes around like a fucking board game. When you go to battle mode, it sort of goes into an RPG style. You each take your turns attacking. Whether or not you hit or miss depends on the outcome of a slot machine. Yes, a fucking slot machine. I don't even understand how this whole thing works. But one thing for sure, you'll never be lucky enough to match up all three. You might do minimal damage at best, but the monsters keep regaining their energy. But not you! The music in this game is so horrible, they actually have an option to turn it off. But when you turn off the music, it turns off the sound effects too. So what's the point? You might as well just mute the fucking TV! You thought the first game was bad? This is an insult to the first game. This shouldn't have been called Godzilla 2. That would be like if the NES had a Ninja Gaiden 4, but it was a puzzle game. You don't pretend this is a sequel when it's not even in the same category. Should have been called Godzilla Strategic Operations Simulator, or Simzilla. Well, I'm afraid to say, but let's check out Godzilla on Game Boy. Okay, this looks promising. The demo shows the monster roll call. They all look great. Godzilla looks okay, his head's kinda messed up. Looks like that thing in Empire Strikes Back that comes out of the asteroid. But let's see how the game looks. Are you fucking joking? Godzilla looks like the dragons from Bubble Bobble. You're going around climbing vines, pushing rocks, and hitting monsters with a boxing glove that Godzilla spits from his mouth. How could they do this to the king of the monsters? They might as well have Godzilla in a clown suit jumping on a pogo stick.
I'm not even gonna waste my time with this shit. The best way to sum this up is to recite a very famous quote from William Shakespeare. Fuck it.
Next up, moving over to Super Nintendo, we got Super Godzilla. Ooh, now we're bringing Super into it. That means we're not playing around anymore. Time to get serious. Ooh, the year 1990X. They narrowed it down to the decade, so I guess they were a little more confident with the date on this one. The graphics are nice. It looks like what you'd expect in a Godzilla game. But the gameplay is a totally different story. You control Godzilla, who's represented by a blue dot on the map screen. The top of the screen is just for show. So playing as Godzilla, you'd want to be destroying buildings, right? Well, here, the buildings drain your health. That makes no sense. Godzilla destroys buildings all the time. That's what he's good at. That's like if Mike Tyson couldn't punch anybody without hurting his hand. When you engage the enemy monster, it goes to a battle screen. Now this looks like the Godzilla game I've been waiting for. But no, not quite. Because it's unlike any fighting game you've ever played. The on-screen instructions don't make any sense. There's 2 stamina meters, which they refer to as fighting spirit. They say to hold down the enemy's fighting spirit, then punch to open up Godzilla's attack window and pull back quickly. So let me try to summarize. You get close to the enemy, you punch him, then you go back and hit L and R to choose an attack. They don't tell you that, do they? They don't tell you you're supposed to press L and fucking R. Why is it so hard to have 2 monsters fighting without it being a fucking Einstein project? I'd hate to say, but I still prefer the NES version. At least that one's easy to understand how to play it. By this time, I gave up on Godzilla games. If they couldn't get it right on Super Nintendo, then all hope was gone. My wish was just to have a traditional tournament fighter featuring all the Godzilla monsters. Well, my wish was half granted. The Godzilla game of my dreams was actually made, but only released in Japan, which means we're gonna have to play it on the Super Famicom. It's called Godzilla Kaiju Daikisen. It's bittersweet to finally play this. Today, it's nothing special, but back then, I would have loved it. It has most of the monsters you know from the movies. They all have special moves, the backgrounds are recognizable, and the music is there. It's fucking Godzilla. But the whole tragedy of this, and what I'll never forget, is that Nintendo Power teased me with this game. Issue 72, May 1995. Coming soon, Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. When I saw this page, I shit my pants. A Godzilla tournament fighter? Oh my god, I can't wait to play this. Never again was it mentioned, and never could I find it in stores. Only in Japan, only in Japan.
15 years later, I'm still pissed. All I wanted was a great Godzilla game, but my childhood passed me by, and I never got it. But nowadays, there's plenty of Godzilla games. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, Godzilla Save the Earth, Godzilla Unleashed. This is after my time. I don't know anything about this here PlayStation 2 and Xbox shit. But I'm gonna give it a try.
Monsters, fight!
Why couldn't I have those games when I was a kid? God damn it, I was born too fucking early. Instead, I have to grow up with these miserable pieces of shit fucking anal jugs. These games suck Baragon's sweaty ball sack. I'd rather get an electric shock from sucking Mechagodzilla's mechanical wiener. These games are shit, drizzling out of the smog monster's rancid putrid a-hole. And then being swallowed and barfed up by Anguirus while I lay on his spikes getting Gigan's buzzsaw up my ass, while Desodroya dumps his diabolical diarrhea all over my face. Man, it's just a bunch of fuck. It's a pile of cunt. fuck, shit, fuck, cunt, fuck. God damn it. I just said fuck from the bottom of my heart, and I said every curse that there is. There's nothing left. So you know what? Somebody's got to invent a new curse word. I think I got it. This game, these fucking games are... Oh yeah, it's that bad.